Hey, it's Matt Pinfield. This is new and approved, and my guest today is Amy Lee from Evanescence. Their latest album, their fifth, came out very recently called The Bitter Truth. It's a great record, and I'm really happy to have Amy with me today. Amy, good to see you. How you doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Matt.
It's great to talk to you again, and this album has so many great songs on it. I wanted to talk to you about the record too because, you know, so much stuff had gone on in your life and in members of the band and just in the camp of Evanescence, during the COVID thing. I mean, there was a lot of tragedy and just unexpected turns of events that really affected, the record and the songwriting. Let's talk about that because I mean, you guys are ready, recorded about 4 songs or so, right? And then a lot of things started to happen. Can we talk about that?
Sure. I mean, for us, the things that you mentioned were happening kind of before that. I lost my brother in 2018, and it's not my first experience with loss, but it just rocked my family's world and kind of it just puts your mind in another place and changes your perspective. And for me, it was kind of the beginning of this chapter where I was asking myself again, kind of like, well, who am I, now? Because when you lose something that's such a huge part of yourself, or when something changes, that's a huge part of yourself, you end up asking those questions, or at least I do. The beautiful thing is that it's led me to music again. And we were there already. We were playing music. We were touring that year, and we have had other losses in our band family as well since then. But
yeah, Tim, right? Tim lost a family member.
Yeah, Tim lost his daughter-in-law.
Which is
It's interesting. This music for me, like when I first started making it, was it's self-expression. It's fun. It's cool to be in a band, but it was deeper than that. It's always been a place for me to really pour out things that are just hard to say in real life. Or there's something about it that feels really cathartic and beautiful and healing. And the even more beautiful part is when you see all these other people out there in the world that use the music in the same way in their own life and in their own, process of healing or grieving or whatever it is. A lot of it for us, a lot of like kind of the motto of the whole thing is like not to be afraid of the pain, not to like numb it out, but to go ahead and feel those feelings and to let yourself in the music have a place to feel free to be your whole self. And our whole selves sometimes are broken. So a lot of this album, it just became, and then COVID hit, and we just felt like we were in tune with a big feeling going around in the world about people having to really look at life and feel loss and want to come together and want to be together when we had to be apart. It made the album have so much meaning and purpose for us. It was like we were on a mission, not just to like help ourselves, but to put something good into a broken world.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great. I mean, there's so many great songs on here, and I love the fact that you got together with your friends, great friends and contemporaries, Lizzy Hale and Taylor Momsen on Use Your Voice, and family members as well, right? He's got to sing on there with you when you did that.
Yeah, that was a beautiful thing.
Was that your sisters that did that with you?
Yeah, it's not my first time having my sisters sing with me. They did some vocals on Call Me When You're Sober. I come from a creative family and a musician family too, so it's cool to be able to like just lean on your actual sisters, for stuff sometimes, and your family. But also, I have so many friends that happen to be amazing women in rock and in the music industry. So it was cool to just like reach out and be like, hey, you guys want to all like do a big gang vocal and be part of this? And it was really cool to hear, so much enthusiasm for wanting, to do it and to be together and just, I don't know, have be a part of like saying that like we're stronger together and have a big voice. It makes me feel a lot of love when I hear that song and when I sing that song.
Yeah, Use My Voice, such a great track. So cool. Lindsey Sterling was on it as well. I mean, there were just a lot of your friends came together to do that, and which was cool. So let's talk about, one of the things that you've always, I thought you've always been very transparent, very honest with your lyrics and your songwriting. I mean, and having started the band at such a young age, Amy, in the early days before the first record came out, and like being in a band with your young boyfriend with Ben Moody back at the time, and then going through the things you went through with your boyfriend Seether and Call Me When You're Sober. I mean, you've really you've been very open and honest about the things that are going on in your life, in relationships and everything. Is that do you find that to be one of the most cathartic things, is being able to like express that so that other people that are going through the similar thing can really draw from that?
It's kind of a personal challenge, to be as honest as it can be in the music, because in real life, I feel myself having to put on so many faces, not for any like huge reasons all the time, just, social graces.
Yeah.
We don't always say, you ask me like, hey, how's it going? It's weird to just be like, well, fuck, like everything is totally screwed for me right now. You don't want to be that person. And it's not even always about something being bad, but just telling the truth and being able to like get out the things that I don't really have the opportunity to say out loud all the time. Music's my best friend in that way. And I do think it's really cool because I have seen it do positive things. The ability somehow to take something horrible and tragic or just bad in general and make it into something good, make it into something life-giving and beautiful is it is the coolest, is the coolest thing in my life.
I think it's fantastic. Let's talk about the song Better Without You, which is a great track. Tell me about that song.
Well, the writing process of it was interesting. I was just playing around with music boxes in my house in Brooklyn. I just thought it would be cool to like make my own music box sound. So I was just sampling. I love to just mess with sounds by myself in my studio. There's a lot of that. We made a box set for The Bitter Truth, and there's a cassette on there where I just put all these scraps and pieces of ideas that either didn't make it or like things that turned into songs on the album eventually. And a lot of it's just noise making. And Better Without You came from this just like experimenting with sampling music boxes and creating a loop and creating my own melody. And I remember showing that tidbit, that beginning and like the start of the first verse to the band. And Will, our drummer, was just like, I got an idea for that. And then we went in there and just built the whole song together. And the song was really, really collaborative with the band, which feels really good. That's not the way that things started for this band. That's not the way my relationship was with the first group, with the first formation. We've really grown in so many ways into the band that I dreamed of being. So it's really cool to be able to like rely on your friends and trust each other's opinions and know that, they're going to challenge you and we're going to challenge each other and never settle for it not being the best that we can possibly do.
I think that's great. And I love that Will Hunt's in the band. I mean, he just kills. He's so good, He really does, which is great. Amy, your live shows have always been just so great. And I love that you've announced just on Friday that you're going to be going out with Lizzy and with Plush and with Lilith Czar, who are, I mean, every one of those artists are great. And, you're going to be on the road, one of your best friends there. I mean, with you and Lizzy. Talk to me about that relationship and how that all started.
Well, it started with music. It worked out for us to go do some shows together. And we hadn't met in person before signing up to do a tour together in 2012. And I remember we had some kind of joint press or like meet and greet to do on that first day. And like I went in there to go be like, hey, like before the fans came in, and we just clicked immediately. She's really humble and really down to earth, doesn't take, all the glory too seriously, takes herself seriously, respects herself, just a really cool person. I feel like it takes something, obviously being a good musician and being a good songwriter, it's all key. But there's something deeper that makes the real pros, like Lizzy. And it comes from just a good heart, like somebody with like their shit in order, like their priorities are straight. We love each other, we get along, we play hard and we work hard. So I'm very much looking forward. I'm looking forward to playing live music again in general. I mean, everybody is. Everybody's been missing it so bad, but to be able to go back out for our first one out with a whole group of people that we're friends with, the crew, the band, we love each other, all of us. So it's going to be a really good time.
And I think it's great you're bringing along, like I said, Plush, a great new band that we played here on the show, and Lilith Czar, who's Juliet. She's phenomenal.
Right.
I mean, it's just, I love it. So, one of the things I also wanted to talk about was one of the things that you bring through the lyrics, and it really shows on The Bitter Truth too, is empowerment. You know what I mean? Personal empowerment. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am really excited about Plush too, and that's a good segue to talk about empowerment, because I feel like it's hard for anybody to get here, you know, to have a band break. It doesn't matter anything about you, male, female, whatever.
Yeah.
But it is hard to get here as a female in addition. And like to do well, like to fit into it and have that not be your whole identity. And I have always considered, you know, since we did make it, like, this is a cool opportunity for me. This is a cool opportunity for all of us to give somebody else a cool chance. I think Plush is awesome, and they're so young and they're just starting out. I know they're writing songs now, you know, to play by the time that we tour. And the music I've heard is fantastic. Their energy is fantastic. I think we all, like, deep down really want to see that fly. We want to see them succeed and be everything that we want music and empowerment and strength and sisterhood to be. So Lizzy and I were all really rooting for them, and it's a real honor to be able to give a cool new band an opportunity like that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I really love that you're doing that. Let's talk about the, working with Nick Raskulinecz on the last record, of course, and your relationship with Nick. Such a great producer. Tell me about working with him and how that kind of shifted during the pandemic. How did that work out?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's one of kind. He's a special guy. He's doing the Hailstorm album right now. Besides him being an incredible producer, he's an incredible fan. He works with bands that he really knows and gets and loves their music, like on a real level. Like, he'll get to know it and he'll do, what it takes to bring that best out of you, that I feel like in a lot of ways they're the root things about you that made people fall in love with you in the first place. And that doesn't ever mean repeating what you've done before. It means that spirit, that thing, that's in you, that whatever it is, like your best. And I think it's really cool to be able to work with somebody so down to earth again and flexible. The pandemic definitely threw a wrench into things, because we did the 4 songs in the beginning of 2020, and then we all had to, go away. And we didn't know when we could come back. And Jen, our guitar player, is in Germany. We actually haven't seen her yet since those first 4 songs. We've been working remotely. And with Nick, we took some time off. We had more writing to do anyway. So I really just was in here writing a ton, collecting ideas from the guys over the internet, putting things together and playing by myself. But, at some point it's like, we need to get back together to really do this. And Nick was just there and has his own place where we could just totally lock down together. We stayed super safe. We all, just got here and bubbled, everybody but Jen, who was remote. And then whenever we had to like step out for a minute because like there was an exposure potentially or whatever, like we just take a couple weeks and wait. And he didn't book other gigs. It was like last year, he was just there for this album. I don't know what I would have done without that situation. I don't think our album would have been made. I think that we would still be working on it if we weren't in this cool situation where I live here and he was here for us and just rooting for it and staying engaged and creative.
And you made that move from Brooklyn to Nashville, where you have a
Yeah.
lot of your friends. I mean, because a lot of people that you and I know have made that move. In rock too. It's
Yeah.
it's become a city as a destination. So tell me about. Are you really enjoying being in Nashville around those friends, and what's the
I am.
dynamic like for you
I
now?
am. I truly am. But it has been so isolated for the time that I've been here because of the timing of our move
Yeah,
that I don't feel like I've really gotten to like live here. I could be on Mars and it would feel similar.
yeah,
But I'm just now, like, as we're starting to kind of get out there, I do feel like the support of a lot of our best friends in the world are here around us, and we're close to family too. My family's still in Arkansas, so
yeah.
we can actually drive and all that. So yeah, it's been nice to be here. I miss New York. I can't help it. We
Yeah.
had such a long stretch there, but for right now in this season, it couldn't have been a better situation for everything that we've been doing. It's awesome.
Where were you in Brooklyn? Were you in like Park Slope or what part, or Williamsburg? Where were you?
Brooklyn Heights.
Oh, Brooklyn Heights. Okay, cool.
Actually, kind of like downtown.
Yeah,
Technically, I think you would call it downtown.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So you were there for a while, which is amazing.
Yeah, 13.
When
13
you
years.
look back, I mean, now, Amy, it's incredible. Starting the first version of the band. You were about what? Were you 14, going on 15 when that first?
It's hard to call it. It's funny because the way our band wasn't like a band. It was like a duo thing.
Yeah.
Like we were like recording artists first, which is weird and backwards. It wasn't like we were out playing gigs. It was like we were just finding ways to create and record music, however. So I remember having like a 16 track recorder and like bouncing down tracks and like learning all that stuff when Ben and I were young teenagers. And then our first shows were literally like coffee shops and stuff with us, and then sometimes we'd bring in another musician, and it was usually like a guest thing. By the time we were like, okay, we have this music, like let's go do it for real, it was not that much later that we were getting signed and kind of like picking who was going to be like in the touring band for real. So it's interesting. I don't know how old I was. It's hard to put a marker on when Evanescence started because it really just came from this pure like creativity that evolved and eventually became a band.
Yeah, which is amazing, and what a journey onto this fifth album now, right?
Yeah. Dang. Yeah.
I mean, I just think it's great to see how the band and how your songwriting has evolved. I mean, it's always been strong, but I love where you've gone on this new record. I
Thanks.
really do.
Thank you. We're really, really just proud of it and grateful to have our fans, to be here after so long and just like feel the love. And it is absolutely both ways. I definitely wasn't imagining or envisioning that we'd be here where we are now when Fallen came out.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to end shorter. I mean, sooner.
Isn't it great though? I mean, it's just such a great thing that it's
Yeah.
continued on and
Yes.
because it's true. You never know how things are going to turn out when you're in a band and you're in a creative process because there's so many different factors. But I think by you staying true to yourself, which you've definitely, me as a music fan and as an observer, I think the thing that's really always worked for you, Amy, is that you're just really true to yourself with your songwriting and expression.
That means so much to me. Thank you.
And I think it's great. So, and I want to thank you for doing this and taking the time to talk to me today because it's so good to have you.
Yeah.
And
It's good to be here. It's good to be out doing it.
Yeah.
Ready for the tour.
Yeah,
Have me in
I
the
can't wait.
studio.
I'm psyched to see you and Lizzy, man, on the road and see you
Yeah.
and Plush and Lilith Czar. It's
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be great,
ready.
and see the rest of the crew because see Will and everybody in the band would be cool. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, come on down. We'll be there.
Yeah. We'll have you in person next time. We'll do it. It'll be
Okay.
great.
That sounds
All right.
good.
Amy, thank you so much for doing this. And
Thank you, Matt.
again, the new album is great. Bitter Truth. Love the record. So thanks
you.
so much. And we'll see you soon, okay?
Okay.
All
See you
right,
then.
You got it. Amy Lee from the band Evanescence. Their new album is called The Bitter Truth. I'm Matt Pinfield. This has been KLOS New and Approved. Thanks so much for watching.